Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Troy City Council, a special Finance Committee meeting. We are getting underway at about 6:19. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilmember Keel. Councilmember Brosnan.
Here.
Councilmember McLaren. Councilmember Vera.
Present.
Councilmember Soriento.
Here.
Councilmember Casey.
Present.
And Council President Steele, present. All seven present and accounted for. Our agenda this evening is a lengthy one, considering that we received it barely 24 hours ago. It includes 3 ordinances and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 resolutions. At this point in time, if there's anyone who wishes to speak on any of those items, this is your opportunity as part of the public forum. Does anyone wish to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, we'll move ahead to consider Ordinance 70, ordinance transferring funds within the 2024 General Fund. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion? Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion on Ordinance 70.
Council President.
Councilmember Brosnan, don't mind me.
I had
My
a
lips are
question.
still cold from the tree lighting ceremony.
I had a question about the Microsoft Office purchase for 82,000.
Is there someone from the administration who can answer questions on Ordinance 70?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Councilmember Brosnan has a question.
Yeah, I had a question about the purchase of the Microsoft Office for 82,000. I was curious if we have to use that version or if we could go back to a later date and save some money.
Sure. So we have been using this platform for almost, I believe, 4 years now. This is just a renewal. And it's not just Microsoft Outlook. It includes licensing for the entire 500 plus City of Troy computer users, which includes Microsoft Office suite like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, whatever applications included in that suite, plus email licensing. And also Microsoft hosts all these services online, which is part of that Office 365 environment. So that's what all of those are included in this package. It's not just the email only. I believe we have been on this platform for about 4 years. I believe even if you go traditional route to host it here in on-prem and also on-premises basically and get offline licensing for Microsoft Suite, I think it's going to be probably about the same cost or a little bit maybe less, but we won't have the redundancy as we have right now with the users being able to log into other computers or even their mobile devices to be able to work efficiently. It also includes OneDrive, which a lot of our users use, and they are basically able to sync their data across computers.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Council President.
Councilmember Vera?
Is this a recurring annual cost?
Yes, sir. That's 82,000 every year.
Was that included in your 25 budget?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren?
So I'm just knowing that this is an ongoing yearly subscription. Is there a reason that there wasn't enough in that line to cover it?
I personally don't know because the budget before was, I believe, arranged by I believe the previous comptroller and BIS together. So I don't know, but what I've been told, there should have been money for it.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Omid? Any discussion on the ordinance? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 70 is adopted unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ordinance 71, ordinance approving settlement of the tax certiorari proceedings instituted by ampersand Mount Ida Hydro LLC on the assessment roll of the city of Troy. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren. Discussion on the ordinance.
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
Vera, that's
Oh,
okay.
Vera,
Um,
I
someone from Corporation Counsel's office.
really think she wanted to say something. But, excuse me.
The warm-ups.
I'll warm up eventually.
Mr. Morrissey, could you just provide a brief overview?
Well, the memo is pretty thorough too, okay. This was a longstanding dispute between the property owner and the city assessor regarding the value of the property. During the course of, there had been a settlement years ago, about the time that I think I came on, to transfer property to the city. The current administration, when Engineer Reeves looked at it, didn't think that that was a good idea. In the meantime, the property had been sold to a new buyer for 1.4 million, and the excuse me, they also changed attorneys. So in any sense, the entire deal became very protracted, and it was no longer viable. So a new agreement was reached to assess the property at the sale price, which it was an arm's length sale, which is generally considered to be the most accurate valuation method there is. And so there are no refunds that will be due for the prior years, all the way through 24. And I think I misstated something when I revised Dan's memo. It simply said that he told me today that if the tax bill goes out with the old number on it, which it will most likely, before the judge approves the settlement, they will not seek a refund of 25 from the city. They will probably reserve their rights to seek it from the county and the school district. So the bottom line would be that the city won't have to pay any refunds.
Okay,
You
so
have
by
anything to
passing
add?
this ordinance, the city isn't due any additional monies. This is just the valuation, the assessed value on that property.
The city is not due any additional monies and will not get any additional monies. The assessment will be reduced,
Okay,
and so we will get less tax values going forward.
okay.
Councilman Vera, did you have any more?
No, I did not.
Questions? Anyone else have any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 71 is adopted 7-0. Ordinance 72, ordinance authorizing settlement of tax liability to Witt Estate of James Scott Puller, the owner of 63, 665 Pauling Avenue. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren.
Which one did you?
You know, which one? There's seven of
The
them.
one sitting next to me. Questions, discussion on the ordinance? Do you want to present a overview?
I would just like to say that this is an unusual case. One, it is in the bankruptcy court. We did enter into we did take the property before the bankruptcy was filed. Because of the bankruptcy, we entered into a stipulation whereby under certain conditions, we would reconvey the property to Mr. Puller. He would have had to stay current on his current taxes and come forward with a Chapter 13 plan that would have repaid the city all the past due taxes. I want to stress that at least the Corporation Counsel's Office and generally every administration I've dealt with is adamant on collecting taxes that are due. We do not compromise taxes on a regular basis because once you start down that road, there will be no end to it. This is an unusual case because Mr. Puller died in the course of his bankruptcy. That delayed things incredibly and caused the interest rates, which are very high under our charter, it work out to 36% per annum, to mount up substantially. The estate has a contract to sell the property for $210,000. The city, if we were to collect all our bills through the end of December, we apply the interest at the beginning of the month, would be owed $209,000 and change. That does not leave enough money to close the sale. We have reluctantly agreed, because it's probably a better business decision for the city, in this case, to compromise the tax liability to $190,000. And that will leave enough money to close, but the estate will not be getting much out of this. And I think the realtor is even compromising their fee. So, we can stand on principle and we'll just end up taking the property. We probably won't be able to sell it for we might be able to sell it for our 210, but that would be, I don't know how much would be owed at that point.
Council President,
Councilmember Vera.
they're under contract to sell the property.
Yes,
currently.
they are.
They're using the proceeds from that sale to pay for this.
Yes, and so the new buyer can get clear title.
Off the top of your head, do you know how much was originally owed in taxes before it ballooned?
Originally, at the time we entered into the stipulation, it was about $100,000.
So the
But that wasn't even-
36% interest rate ballooned that to over 200,000?
That, and there were some substantial water charges just after he died. I don't know if something was left on or what. In addition, there are trash fees in there too. But the 36% was the biggest culprit. It mounts up fast once you get in these high numbers.
Any other questions for Rick? Dana? Seeing none, all in favor of ordinance 72?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance is adopted 7-0. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution 153, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Tyler Technologies, Inc. for the purchase and implementation of financial management software and other software modules under the Sourcewell Consortium contract number 090320 TTI. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilman Brosnan. Discussion on the resolution.
Council President?
Councilmember McLaren?
So I have a few, actually. We have heard countless times, that KVS is inadequate, outdated. I guess the first question I have is this something without a comptroller to weigh in on the financial aspect of this? Or how well it will work for our financial needs? Is it kind of premature to do this now?
So yes, your question is absolutely right. Like, this was all done when Dylan was here. We did we went through a bunch of different ERP systems, and Dylan recommended Tyler Technology because he went in a very depth conversation with them and compare every single aspects of what we will be using. And we're just going through the technical part of it, things that we can support, and also things that Dylan had previously worked on the code. Yeah, please.
My understanding is that there are not that many available. It's not that there were 20 or 25 different financial packages that are suitable for municipal financials. There are only, to my understanding, and someone else can correct me if I'm wrong, I think there were only 2 or 3. And of the 2 or 3, this is the one that was not only recommended by Dylan, but by other municipalities that the administration spoke to and other of our financial consultants. And that's why this one was chosen. So I don't know that the result would be different by waiting. And my understanding is the lead time to get this up and running is about 18 months. So the longer we put off making a decision and starting the implementation, the longer we have to live with KVS and the longer we have to live with its limitations.
Okay.
So I do understand that, yes, it might be nice for the new comptroller to be able to pick the platform that we go into, but if we don't pull the trigger soon, then we're going to be that much further behind in getting this up and running.
Okay, thank you.
So, council member, it's like we got a band up here. So we just need council member Casey with his guitar. But another couple things to point out too, and I apologize if Omaid already mentioned this, but reviewing these softwares got multiple staff, supervisors, all the folks from the various departments involved. They went to multiple different meetings, demos, along with myself, Omaid, and another thing to point out, this system, yes, will replace KVS, but it will also help with a lot of our other technological systems. So all the way from, right now, if you're requesting leaf bags, it might come through as an email or a phone call or something, where this will set up a dashboard and a queue for so many different things. So it will affect efficiencies across the entire city. So it'll be great. And like the lead time that Dana did, that she referenced, that is a big part of it too. But, the council did approve the allocation through ARPA. And as we all know, the ARPA funds do have to be contracted, fully obligated here by the end of the year. So that's another reason. So, the system, it's a great system. This company, there is not a lot too many that out there that do these systems. Tyler actually happens to be one of the only that just focuses on municipalities as well. So they really do get it, just to give you a little bit more background.
Sold me. So Council President, can I keep going?
Absolutely.
Okay, so my other question is the financial part of it. So I know that the appropriation will cover the one-time cost of $588,000. The annual fee is more than double of what we're paying now for KVS. Is that accounted for in the budget?
So this right here will get us through, for this current budget part, but it will be something that has to get accounted for in future budgets.
So the 2025 budget doesn't include.
Because the ARPA funds will will take
Cover the
care of the
first-
whole implementation phase of it. That will take the 18 to 24 months.
Oh,
So it's not
you can
necessarily
use
something that
that
has to be
pay
budgeted for.
forward until. okay.
Correct.
Now, is, the one-time cost of 588 plus the 301, or does that 301 not start until?
It is plus.
Okay.
We are under their agreement. We would be able to kind of break those payments up, but frankly, again, it doesn't make sense just because we are using the ARPA funds. So we would contract that whole amount
So
to
that
get
will
us through
almost
the
take,
implementation.
that will
process.
almost take the whole 944.
Correct. And that
Okay.
is what it was set aside for.
Okay.
For
Which I
the
get. I mean, it's great that
accounting
it's
system.
covered, but then come February or March or, once it's fully implemented, we're still going to have that 300,000 that's not currently budgeted for.
So well, it won't be February or March because it will take about a year and a half to 2 years to fully implement it. There's a whole process of not only just building the software, configuring it to what we do here at the city of Troy, but we also have to then download all the historical information from KVS, make sure that transfers over all the different records, train staff, all of that stuff. So, it's a mixture of Tyler Technology staff that will actually be, present. They'll be also doing, online different types of things.
And that's all included in
All
the.
setting it up. That's all part of it too. And another thing, just to point out, I know, it is the $300,000 amount, but it does chip away a little bit because we pay about $80,000 a year for KVS. We pay roughly, I want to say, another 20 to 40,000 for a online payment service. There's a couple other little things that do add up
this
that
will
kind of
all-
cut it in half if you look at it that way. So arguably it's our server maintenance. So you could look at it, almost half of it will be chopped down with stuff that will end up being getting rid of, that not needing. Yeah.
Will this also aid in getting Kronos, working?
So it will
operational.
in that, Kronos, again, we do have that. That's a project that we started, getting that back on. We have folks that are still logging in and out of Kronos, as we speak. There's different parts of that we have to implement, but they will speak seamlessly with one another. So it will definitely help. The huge part of it from a payroll standpoint, some of you folks may know, but payroll right now is a big piece of paper that gets handed in to supervisors, to the department heads, and go to our payroll. It's quite the archaic system. So not only will you the complement of Kronos and Tyler Technologies, it's going to just be like we came through light years of progress when you get both those systems communicating and up and running. But I do think, just to note, that we will see actually Kronos up and running, before Tyler Technologies fully is.
Okay, thank you.
Council President,
Councilmember Soriento.
this is New World, right? This is New World.
Or Tyler bought New World.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So I'm seeing, resources management is left blank, but is that because whatever entails with human resources management is underneath that?
I don't know exactly, but
Like
because
employee expense reimbursement and human resources and talent management?
those things are part of
So,
this software.
Does that also include like personal actions?
It would be, yeah, so instead of doing like a
Awesome.
personal action form and stuff, you're
Yeah.
saying, yeah. Another huge thing that is just
Paper.
might seem small, but again, from everybody in their day-to-day, instead of a PO or payment voucher circulating around the whole building, ultimately getting to the mayor's office, that will be another thing. So it will help efficiencies tremendously. Not just, we know that KVS is archaic and all the problems it's created for us, in the comptroller's office, but it's even that and so much more. So it's going to really make us operate that much more efficiently, which is great.
It's a good program. Really is.
Council President.
Councilmember Vera.
So for the 18 to 24 months of implementation, that 301,000 annual charge, are we paying that from day zero, from day one?
Yes.
So when we pull the trigger on this contract, even if the system takes 2 years to implement, we will have spent 588,000 plus 300 for year one, plus 300 for year two.
So that first amount, the 500 and plus the 300, so the 800 or so and change gets us through the whole configuration and implementation process.
Oh, until
And
we
then you'll
start
start seeing
operating. So
that
whether, it's
annual
okay.
fee.
So regardless of how long the implementation process
correct.
takes, until we are done with that, we're spending 888,000.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. So this doesn't need to be in the budget until maybe 26 at the
That-
earliest. Okay,
Exactly.
understood. Sounds like there's a ton of kind of back end improvements when it comes to managing things internally. Are there any forward facing improvements? Are we going to be able to take credit and debit cards as payment?
So that's what I was referencing with one of the services we use. I want to say it's Express Bill, Express Pay Now for some online stuff. Another not too great system that we constantly have issues with. So this will definitely improve that. I mean, we could see it everywhere from forms that get submitted to planning and code and all types of things that across the board. So there will be some front facing benefits for our residents, definitely.
So,
Also-
for instance, I needed to pull a permit from Schenectady County last week. I was able to do that process entirely online. This may allow for that. Okay.
Correct. I think Omaid has a point too.
So I was just gonna add on to the deputy mayor's comment on, our residents will be able to create accounts also. So they don't even have to come here. They will get an email alert. If there's a bill pending, they can go online and then manage their account. If there's a water bill, sewer, whatever needs to be paid. So those are also part of the system that's included. We can add pretty much anything. They have like a lot of options, a lot of different modules. If we ever have to expand, they have a lot of other options that we can pay. Right now, they have 90 municipalities in New York State they support. Schenectady, Saratoga, Buffalo, Ithaca. These are like one of their customers. Bennington, I think, is also Rensselaer County. So just name a few.
And to that point a bit, one thing to note in it that's beneficial is I know that on the information you have in front of you, there's just a list of all the different things that they offer in it. If we find that some of those are really unnecessary for us here at the city of Troy, we could take it away. If there's something they offer that we feel like we want to replace it with, we can add it. So that's another huge benefit to this. It's not it's a little bit more flexible when it comes to the usage.
To that point, so what we're looking at is an estimate of the services that we think we'll need, but it may change.
I would say if anything, we could possibly even pull back from some of them, but I
Well,
think
that's what I
we
wasn't
went-
implying it's going to cost more.
No,
Meant
yeah.
it may change.
it could change. I mean, we went, me and Omaid definitely went through multiple times line by line and went back to get feedback from departments to see, if some stuff was unnecessary, and this is what we came up with.
Thank you.
Seamus, could you refresh my memory on the ARPA allocation? How much was allocated? My memory is that it was a lump sum for this and Kronos together.
That is correct. So
And how much was that total?
so that total allocation was, I want to say 1,250,000.
And of which we are taking out for this software package?
Correct. Yes. So the
900 and something?
I wish I had my number in front of me, but 800 and
890,
yeah,
basically,
yes.
And does that leave enough for Kronos?
So and the Kronos part of it has already been used and paid for, so that's already been spent down.
And how much was that? If the total was 1.25,
It says we still have 944.
Yeah, I want to say that it was close to 300,000 for Kronos. I just don't have it right in front of me.
It says
Okay.
it in here, current balance.
I wasn't clear whether that included Kronos or not.
It does. And then I
Yeah.
want to say it even in that bucket, we might be a little bit money left over. And I think we're going to work on something for that for Kronos, but yeah. But yeah,
The actual implementation of this financial system, will this require additional consultants coming on board?
It will not. I mean, Tyler Technologies and their staff, working with our staff is all that's needed.
And that's included within these dollars that we are
Correct.
considering at this.
That's
time.
why a big part of that, why we see that initial increase in cost is them actually, building kind of the software and the different things that we'll need, as well as getting it implemented. So it's their staff cost and all those other.
And what's the plan for training our staff?
Yes. I'm sorry, say that again.
And what's the plan for training our staff on this new system?
So so Tyler Technologies will aid in that. Of course, it's going to be a phased in approach where they'll be working, getting everything set up, and then we'll get to the point where we start training the staff on it with
And that-
Tyler Technologies.
And that too will be at no additional cost.
Correct.
Thank you.
Council President,
Councilmember Brosnan.
is this gonna assist in the search for comptroller, switch from KVS to something?
Most certainly, just because, we found, and we're going through all the interviews for the comptroller's office, it's even folks, even folks that had maybe long time serving as a comptroller and in municipal accounting, not one out of the plethora of folks we've been interviewing has known of KBS. One knows that it's a thing, never worked in it, so I think definitely the fact that knowing we're getting this on, because, when we do get that crucial person in here, I think just one look at this KVS system, it would be like, what is going on here? It's a very frustrating archaic system. And if it's something that you've not been kind of used to using for many years, even the folks over in our comptroller's office that have been using it for years are still stumped on different things, how to utilize it. So no, I would say it definitely will help that, and it will show the commitment to turning that office around.
And just to add on to that, KVS was introduced in 1980, and it was written in COBOL and Oracle. Oracle still exists. COBOL is there's very few people that know how to code with COBOL. So I can say possibly within the next few years, KVS may just disappear, or they may force their customers to move to a different platform, which might cost about the same or more. So right now they have been acquired by 5 different companies, and the latest one is like a private equity firm, and I bet they will probably assess and raise the price and push us to go to a different platform. And so,
Do you have an estimation on when we may get a new comptroller in, or is that still up in the air?
I don't want to say necessarily up in the air. I feel like that we're getting close without giving a specific time, but we are definitely at the point of narrowing the options down to find the right fit. It's been an exhausting process. It's a comptroller, especially somebody with not only the will, but the knowledge to do it. They're quite the gem. Folks are just not getting in that profession now, or they're leaving it for much higher paying private sector jobs that we could never compete in, but no, we definitely are zeroing in on that.
All right, thank you.
Council President.
Councilmember McLaren.
While this implementation is happening, we are, correct me if I'm wrong, but we will still have to pay the 125 for KBS.
Well, KVS is around 80, but those other services, yes,
Right.
we'll have to keep them up and running until we go fully online with the Tyler Technologies.
Thank you.
And of course, all those things are existingly budgeted for the existing software.
Right, okay.
Council President,
Councilmember Barrett.
how does this play with City View?
It will
So this
speak
doesn't like replace, it is City View, right?
in City View and Building Blocks, I want to say, are the two that I want to say Tyler might, they might offer something like that. And that's one of the things that we discussed about possibly adding on if we end
Okay.
up getting rid of those. But again, from the feedback from the departments, that's actually a system that sounds like everybody really likes and utilizes.
Well, it was a
as well.
change, and I think it took a while for everybody to get
Yes,
used
yeah,
to it.
yeah,
And so,
well,
right.
So, but it will communicate seamlessly with
But it
them.
will work with it.
Yep.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
I just want to add like one more thing is like with Tyler, we're gonna get like more redundancy also. Right now KVS is hosted here in the city hall. So if somebody cut a fiber or our internet is down, basically everybody will be down. Nobody will be able to access it. This will be hosted in the cloud. They have a 99.9% uprate. So if they are below that threshold, they will pay us for every minute or hour we lose productivity. And they also have like cybersecurity team that monitors the environment 24/7. They have data center in North America that host government entities only. So if, for instance, the East Coast get hit with a natural disaster, they will divert our traffic to West Coast. So it's just, they have that peace of mind as well. Users who cannot work in the office can access Tyler over their home internet. And we are going to add a second layer of multi-factor authentication to make it a little bit more secure so they can access it and do their job if for some reason they can't make it to the office as well.
So similar to City View in that regard, it's right. City View is accessible outside of City Hall, can be anyway.
I haven't used it, but
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So we're looking, if I understand correctly, summer of 2026, possibly as late as December of 2026. Is that?
Correct.
Let's hope we have a controller before then. Oh, boy.
Council
Um,
President, we can agree on that.
Okay, it's nice to have agreement.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I understand that we will not be paying any more if we take longer to convert over, if it takes longer for our employees to become trained and comfortable with this, and they are necessarily on site or helping us. I'm just concerned that we don't have any additional costs involved here. Is there any limit to how long they will be providing service to us?
I mean, and they're very open about, again, every situation I'm sure is unique, but that's why they give us kind of that time frame, that they're not trying to say they'll get it done in 12 months and then there'll be all these additional fees. They're very upfront really about it. I think that's one of their positives. They were even willing months ago, a little before we got into budget. We were hosting a lot of different meetings on it. We were almost going to move it forward then, and that got caught up with, putting the budget together. They even offered, okay, do the contract now. We can start implementing it once after. So they're definitely flexible to work with like that. I think they have a local office too, don't they? So that's another plus. But yeah, those, if for some reason it runs on, which we don't want, hopefully we're going to get it done on the earlier end. But there wouldn't be additional cost there.
It's a lot of money, and I hope you're right. Thank you.
Yes, well spent.
At the county, we went through the same process. We had PeopleSoft. We migrated to Tyler. It was about 2 years. We could have done it sooner. We could have done it in 1 year, but that was really aggressive. Things would have fallen apart. It would not have trained the employees the right way. So the 2 year, 18 months to 2 year was like, and the county is way bigger than here. So that's why it took about 2 years.
Thank you. Any other questions? All in favor of resolution 153?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted. Resolution, thank you, everyone. Resolution 154, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Environmental and Fueling Systems LLC to conduct tank closure and soil removal services at 633 Second Avenue. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion on the resolution. I want to thank the chief for sending that information we requested in such a timely fashion. Very much appreciated. Any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted unanimously. Resolution 155, resolution appointing a commissioner of deeds for the city of Troy. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted unanimously. Resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Paramount Claims Service LLC to provide third-party claim administration services. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren. Discussion on 156. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 156 is adopted 7-0. Resolution 157, resolution by the Troy City Council approving and endorsing an application to the Empire State Development Corporation for funding under the Restore New York Communities Initiative Grant Program. Councilmember Steele, Councilmember Casey, Councilmember Keel, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera. Discussion on the resolution? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-0. Resolution by the Troy City Council approving and endorsing an application to the Empire State Development Corporation for funding under the Restore New York Communities Initiative Grant Program. Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento with a second by Councilmember McLaren. Discussion on the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
We have 6 ayes, 1 recusal. I'm recusing myself as Chair of the Housing Authority. Resolution 159, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a lease and license agreement with Troy Albany Youth Hockey Association relating to the Nick Ice Arena and Recreation Facility. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey, at the request of the administration. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion on the resolution.
Council President,
Councilmember Brosnan.
I had a couple questions on this one.
And just to introduce this gentleman to my left here, this is Steve Kraz, president of the TEHA.
Thanks for coming. First question I had was, in the contract, it's $250,000 for improvement in lieu of rent with $500 a month for utilities. Is that correct?
Yes.
Does that $250,000 to be spent by 2030 include the hockey boards just purchased?
Yeah, sure boards, yes.
Yeah, sure. All right, cool. And that leaves a little over $100,000 remaining in that.
150
Yeah,
to 30.
Yeah.
Hundred change.
All right. Do you have any idea on what some of the upgrades you would want to see with the remaining funds would be?
I mean, so
You
I
don't have to lock in, just.
Yeah,
an idea.
well, so we discussed about some different things. I know I keep, you might laugh at this, a fitness center, but I keep, talking about some of those types of things too. But the way this agreement will go, especially when we're, finally this building is activated and we're in there, it kind of does leave a little bit of the flexibility to see what comes up, what might make sense once we're more fully in there operating. But I know something like that was an idea. There's a common space area as well that needs some upgrading. There's definitely a couple different things that we could do. Sure, Steve's got a couple ideas too.
All right, thank you. And then just to clarify, how did we land on the $500 a month for utilities? Is that just you bounce back and forth a few times?
That was my suggestion.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I did have something in there because I don't expect them to get their own fire insurance policy for covering the entire building. And so that would be also considered as part of a contribution toward our own fire insurance policy.
All right. In the contract, it says the city is responsible for all major repairs, but Troy Hockey is responsible for repairs.
So that's a little bit of that is kind of an immaterial change that will be made. The city is going to, staff and operate the Nick again, just like we partnered with Rensselaer County to get it built. And we're partnering with Tejon as well, but there will be city staff there maintaining the building. It'll be our responsibility. Of course, if the Tejon hockey guys get a little too rowdy and break something, that's on them. But, otherwise it's still, it's our building that we'll be maintaining.
All right. Could you explain how the ice times came about with the Monday through Thursday, Saturday and Sunday schedule?
So that was something that me and Steve sat down and kind of went over also after seeing, other local areas kind of where they utilize free open skate times or different opportunities for the community to use it. We felt this was a great mesh of giving them ample time while still making sure that the city, can still have 55 to 60 hours, almost double of the time that Tejon will have the availability for it. So, you'll see kind of, I know the Saturday, Sunday, it might sound like, why are we taking a 2-hour break? Well, that would be an ample time for the community to use it to skate. That'd be a great thing. Folks use these for stick and puck events. There's figure skating opportunities. There's learn to skate, so many different things to pack it. And then there's also other organizations or folks that also might want to book time. I don't know about, probably not at the amount of Tejon, and that's part of why this agreement is what it is. But we know that there's other folks out there already looking to, book and schedule even smaller amounts of time, which of course will be charged.
All right, thank you. For the time that Troy is not going to be in the rink, who's going to be running the ice rink?
City of Troy's staff.
All right. Have we decided on who the main staff person's going to be yet, or is it still up in the air?
We're interviewing. We haven't filled those positions just yet, but we're interviewing now. Those jobs have been posted. And the interviewing process has started.
And then in the contract, it says they have the ability to sell their own ice time based off of if they weren't going to use the ice, they could sell it.
That would be subject to our approval and another arrangement that would be figured out if that occurs.
If that were to occur, would we set the price or would we get a share of what or is that going to be a further negotiation?
That would be something that we would work out, but definitely, again, any time outside of this agreement here or outside of Tejon using it is something that the city will charge and collect money for.
All right. And in the contract, it says 6 free community events. Would you be willing to do 12 on like a scheduled day so kids have structure?
Yeah, I mean, we'll do whatever. Take that. Yeah, we would do as much as we can. Obviously, we have a lot of great people that want to donate time to grow the game of hockey and get kids inside the Nick. So we just want to be a partner and try and develop this whatever way. We want to work with the city.
All right. Thank you.
And we are going to take that 6 and change it to 12. That's also a minimum though. This is, this group, this organization, this is why the city partnered with them, especially when the county was so gracious coming with their $2 million to get the Knickerbocker and bring it back to life. Tejon's kind of been there with us throughout the process. Look, we're not a hockey expert, so they're the local experts on hockey, especially with youth. And it's kind of something they've been looking for to do in general without even this agreement. So even the 12 is a minimum we've talked, and I really do believe, not just Steve, but the other coaches and staff they have in the organization, they really care about hockey, really care about exposing it to other folks, to our youth that might not have that opportunity that they will now. So, I think that you'll be seeing even more of those engagements than are even listed in here. I really do.
And then my last question, Monday through Thursday, you take ice at 5:30. Would the city of Troy be able to have children's free skate from the schools nearby to come in before they
Most-
take over the ice?
Most certainly, those are different things that, we talked about, and we have two Boys and Girls Club organizations in the city. I see them utilizing it. I know our Kevin Pryor and our outreach has already talked about trying to put something together. There's so many opportunities for the community to expose them to this great recreational sport for sure.
All right, that's all I got. Thank you.
Council President,
Councilmember McLaren?
will there be a pro shop for skate rentals?
So we have skates, skate sharpeners, all of that. So yes,
Okay.
there will be, that will be available. And down the road, hopefully in the short term, we look to even build upon, that could have a concession stand in there. That could be a whole day thing. There, again, as you can tell, there's no shortage of this, of slots for ice out there. The Knickerbocker is going to become one of the few on this side of the river. It's going to be a hot option for a lot of folks. So that's another opportunity to build up the facility and another source of potential revenue as well. And, the Nick, we all remember it's big enough. I think actually we were talking about this, but kids' parties, birthday
Birthday
parties,
parties.
just
Oh,
those
yeah.
types of things. There's so many opportunities
Yeah.
there.
I agree. Now, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but
That's
hockey,
okay. I don't get offended.
no,
That's enough.
hockey is an
Not-
exclusive
yeah.
sport, right? So the average Troy family can't afford to have their kids play hockey, right? Troy schools don't have hockey teams. So unless you're paying for a private school, you're not playing at that competitive level as the average Troy family. So, I'm hoping that there's consideration given to, so even if we do these stick and pucks and we do these, learn to skate, kind of learn the basics of hockey. I love that idea. But then where do they go from there? Are there going to be scholarship opportunities maybe for Troy kids to be able to join your organization without their parents having to, take out a second mortgage or, because I have a lot of friends whose kids play hockey and I know realistically, if they're going to play at a competitive level, that's what it takes sometimes, would there maybe be things like equipment drives where you've got, your contacts, people, families whose kids have outgrown their equipment to donate them so that these kids, their parents aren't having to, again, break the bank or just tell their kids, I'm sorry, we can't do this.
To answer all your questions, yes.
Okay.
All of them. We currently do a lot of that stuff. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of ice at Freer Park, and we like to keep our families there just because we have a big network of support there. But we do equipment swaps. We scholarship families. We've had the Boys and Girls Club and Hope 7 down before. We've given free registration to anybody that wanted to join. So those things that you've talked about,
Mhm.
we're
You're
willing
already
to,
doing it.
yeah.
Okay.
We can't really do it now because we're cramped in at Freer Park.
Right.
But with the partnership with the Nick, we can definitely expand on that and grow that. So yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So the agreement before you is a draft that I did, and it was kind of pressed for time. So we will, Teja is familiar with it. I think that they don't have any real problems with it, but it will be refined a little bit, and we can include more specific language with regard to, they seem very agreeable to helping the youth of Troy. I just didn't know enough perhaps to include, scholarships and equipment swaps and things like that. But I will certainly make an effort to include those in the final draft. I just wanted to say that. Okay. The other thing I
Thank you.
want to tell you too is this is I called it a lease and license agreement because it's kind of a hybrid. We are not, giving Teja the entire facility to manage and run. in any way. It is a non-exclusive use. They get certain ice time and things like that, but basically the city will retain management of the facility and, total access, unimpeded access. And we hope to be able to work with TEHA to open the ice as much as possible. And there may be days when they're not using it and stuff like that, for city events and for the use of city patrons.
Thank you.
Council President.
Councilmember President.
Sorry. I know I said last question, but I'm gonna pull a move from Aaron Vera's book and ask one more. In the agreement, it says that you will be assisting in setting up tournaments. Would the city be getting the proceeds of the tournaments, or would it be a split, or how would that work out with registration fees and all that good noise?
Those are things that we're still definitely going to be discussing, but again, that would be another benefit that, doesn't necessarily reflect a dollar and cents, that there's a lot of that in here, is that, again, we'd be leaning on their connections, their knowledge of the sport in locally and in the region to put together some type of tournament, which again would be another revenue source for the city here. And, there's the other factors that we have to focus on too, that this will bring arguably thousands of folks, throughout the year to this destination in Lansingburg. There's a lot of positive stuff going on in the Nick, but you have to think that these folks, after playing, they want to go out to dinner. Maybe they go to Vert Isles, they go to 41, even if they want to stop and get some gas. Sales tax revenue, bringing these things here, every bit of that does help the city. And it's just going to bring more people to the city of Troy, which again is not reflected in here, but, helps all around.
Thank you.
Council President.
Councilmember Vera.
My questions are mainly going to relate to the financial kind of angle to this deal. I have no doubt that Taya does fantastic work, and that's excellent. You guys did a great job with the Freer ice rink. We wouldn't have that without you guys. But in this case, this is a new facility that we've just spent $2 million renovating. We're looking at giving exclusive access for 30 hours a week, and ice time is typically valued at around $200 an hour. Over the course of 6 years, that's $1.8 million in revenue if this was being sold market rate, right? If we were doing what Albany County does with their ice rink at $200 an hour, that's the value of this contract. Was any of that considered in the negotiation? Was it looked at as maybe we sign a contract on an hourly rate? And I'm not saying 200 an hour, but perhaps, you're buying, a bulk of hours. Was any of that discussed?
I mean, we talked about a bunch of different options, but again, some of this getting, I know it's not 100% upfront, but the set dollar amount for the set time to getting some of those improvements done was one of the things that we focused on. I do get that I'm aware that, you can get ice from $100 to $200 at different places like Albany County, when you do purchase it from here to there. And since they're doing such an upfront kind of purchase of it, that's why you would see it reduced a little bit lower to compare where it is. And on top of it, all of the partnership elements, the community engagement and everything like that. So, we're very confident that Knickerbocker is going to become quite an attraction. It's going to draw a lot of people, but it's also been dormant for almost a decade. So we want to get it off the ground, get it going. That was one of the huge stipulations with the county, and County Executive McLaughlin wanted to get this thing up and running, get it going every best way we can. So, that is why that we decided to partner with TEHA. And, there's still ample opportunities here, like I said, 55 to 60 hours a week, where we could charge other folks that don't utilize it, have the same relationship with the city, larger rates. That will also be a revenue stream for the city and the rink.
So on that note, on, the times, these are the premium times, right? It's right after work on weekdays. And, it's not too early in the morning on the weekend, not too late at night either. I'm not saying there there aren't hours there that the city could be making revenue on, but these are the prime hours for that facility.
From what
And
I hear
by-
that there's,
you know, I mean,
from
we can
8
apply
a.m.
a
to all
different-
day, people will play. But
We can apply all sorts of different valuations to the kind of ancillary benefits of having somebody, you know, manage the facility for those 30 hours a week. But if we're just looking at the dollars, the 250,000, the 500 a month, we're essentially selling those hours on the ice for $27, $28 an hour when the market rate for that time is $200 an hour.
Well, I guess, and going back to that, I mean, I gave that explanation there, why we decided to come to that agreement. If Teja and Steve had 1.8 million, I would have tried. But you know, it was just like anything. We worked through the different numbers and what could happen. You know, to make a comparison to say, and this is no knock to Teja, and they're an existing agreement up at Freer Park. For Freer Park right now, the city previously made an agreement with them for a 10-year 10 years, and they're there for, they pay like $1,500 a month. So comparison to that, when you do break it down, it's almost over double, or if not more, almost $2,000 or so more a month if you break up the investments that are getting made compared to the other Troy facility as well. And we actually have twice as much ability to now still sell other time slots and everything. And from everything that I've heard, and Steve can go on this a little bit more, again, I do get it. Those are great times. But, and I even just today in different things, different meetings, talking about the Nick and this meeting coming up, I didn't realize that there used to be leagues at the Nick that went till 12 o'clock at night. There's stuff that started at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's so many ample, I mean, it's just so popular, I guess. So, you know, I still believe that there's ample opportunity to not only generate revenue from the other slots, but to allow the community to enjoy it as well. And some stuff too, I know we were talking about this. Again, I know that there's a lot here in the documents, but there's other stuff we talked about with partnering and stuff.
Yeah. If I can just add to, the deputy mayor just mentioned another Zamboni. The Zamboni from the Nick is being moved. It was at Freer Park because the Nick was dormant, and we appreciate the city's partnership with that. That's being repurposed down for the Nick. In turn, we're gonna buy another Zamboni to support both rinks. So that's a cost the city wouldn't have to make. That's about $140,000 roughly. So there's, you know, you can add that into it. I also want to mention that Freer Park, we take care of everything. We've invested over $1 million in that property to have kids and families coming into that facility, dining at the park pub, spending gas at gas stations, staying at hotels and whatnot. So, you know, we just been very grateful for the partnership for the city and just really kind of want to expand this with the Nick.
Is this a draft contract then? This is not finalized? I mean, we've had just over 24 hours to review a 6-year deal on this facility. Are there changes that need to be made to this document before it's acted on?
Before I do any contract, I've always included language in the council resolution authorizing the corporation council basically to make such provisions or changes in terms that are necessary to protect the city and the public. I've always viewed that authorization to go to basically non-material terms. In other words, if the amount of contribution by Teja, if they wanted to reduce it by 50,000, that means it goes back to the council or something like that. However, I don't think there remains much to be negotiated. I think we're in basic agreement as to the terms.
Well, I think if there are things like the purchase of equipment that are going to be made, it would be helpful to have those as conditions of this agreement and have those itemized in the, you know, the value that those bring, right? If the plan here is to purchase a $140,000 piece of equipment and that's not included in here, you know, that is of value to the city. But, you know, what I'm looking at here, the value that's shown in this contract, you know, really doesn't it doesn't come close to the actual value of what we're selling, which is 30 exclusive hours a week at this facility, this
I
brand new
underst-
facility.
I understand what you're saying. I think there are a lot of factors that created the impetus towards this contract. One of them was, we don't have budgeted dasher boards yet or anything like that. The other one is the desire to get the facility up and running this winter so that, citizens and the children of Troy can take advantage of it. It is, I'm sure they would have loved a 10-year contract. Okay, this one is limited to 6 years with one option to renew at new terms. So normally I like to see contracts for the city to be 3 years or less, usually no more, maybe an extension here and there. But this one is twice as much, but I think we get a substantial bang for our buck here.
So the city, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like what you're saying is the city is not in a financial spot to finish the Nick Arena and open it without some sort of deal like this.
That's not necessarily the
Quite
case.
true.
Is that what it is? Again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that yes, getting the dasher boards definitely helped move everything go along. It doesn't mean that if we did not have this agreement that the Nick was not going to still open on time. I don't believe that's what Rick was asserting either. But the other thing, to the point of there should be, kind of looks like you're looking for maybe a schedule in there, but from my understanding, and Rick, if you can, chime in, is that there is the clause in there of that they are to make these material improvements agreed upon both parties on what's going to be going in there. So that is essential. That is what we're getting. That is the value that we're getting.
Right, up
Improvements
to
that we can
250,000.
continue to own past for whenever.
And those improvements have to be completed by the 5th year, by the end of the 5th year of the contract, so that we're not going into the end of the contract looking for
Mhm.
more of those.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. If I take the value of the $250,000 in improvements, the $500 a month, and I assign that to the hours
Uh-huh.
that the facility is being rented, it's a drop in the bucket compared to what those hours are worth. There's not enough money in this, is I guess where I'm
Well,
going.
and that, I guess that would also be assuming that one organization would come in and purchase $200 an hour worth of skate time in one shot as well.
Even at $100 an hour, we would be making out. At $80 an hour, $50 an hour, it would be more cost effective than this.
Well, again, this was going into this agreement when, the county gave us this $2 million to get this up and running here. The goal was to get it up and running, find a partner that we could work with here. I get the point that you're making, but again, I still see that there's a lot of value here for the city and for the community, even outside of just the dollars and cents of it.
If I did the math correctly, I think it works out to 17,000 for the term for 6 years. No, I didn't do it right.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think it works out to be about 3,000 to 4,000 a month.
Yeah.
Plus, I
Yeah.
didn't do it right.
It's okay. You didn't put your comptroller cap on.
I have a few questions, if I may. So do I gather from what some of your comments tonight, you're planning on keeping the Freer Park facility for your use? Or is that going to be returned to the city?
No, we still have an agreement with the city for a lease. So until that sunsets or expires, we would continue to use that.
And so can you help us understand how long that agreement is for? And
I think we have another,
Still 2029 with
Right.
a potential of a 5-year extension.
at that point, you would be relinquishing the Fair Park facility?
we would look to renew the lease.
You would look to renew?
We would.
Okay. Can you tell me when you began the negotiations for TEHA to essentially take over the Nick Arena?
The exact negotiations of exactly what's in here, I don't know, maybe possibly over the past month, but I mean, we've been in talks a little bit off and on for the past several months once we.
Well, I
started
know they
having
were
this
there
together.
at the ribbon cutting, so clearly you've been a partner from day one.
Well, like I had noted earlier, that was part of the reason, again, coming into this has been allowed to sit dormant for over a decade. So we wanted to, when, again, the county awarded us these funds, the 2 million in it, wanted to come into it with a partner. What that exact agreement or arrangement or relationship was going to end up being at that ribbon cutting. No, we didn't know that then, but it's been something that we've been talking about. Steve has actually been really helpful outside of this agreement on a couple other different things. Like I said, he's got a lot of knowledge with hockey. So it's been a great partnership even outside of what we have here in front of you.
Can you clarify for me, the boards have been purchased already
Yes, they have.
prior to this contract being considered by the council?
That's correct.
I find that very concerning. We did not have an agreement with the association.
The city didn't
And-
purchase them.
The city did not purchase them.
Correct. Teja did. So this agreement was to not.
So
go
why do
through.
we even have a council if we just
Well,
go
the
willy-nilly?
The council's there to approve city expenditures. It's not a city expenditure. Again, you're misleading. It's something that Teja took. So in theory, if this agreement was to fail, I guess they'd have a bunch of boards sitting somewhere.
Okay. Was the county involved in the negotiation process?
No, not with this agreement.
Not at all.
The county, again, part of the agreement with the county, once we got those funds, was to put our best effort to get it open as soon as we possibly could. That was a huge part of the county's agreement. They wanted to see the public starting to use this as soon as possible. But no, not with this. This is between the city and Teja.
Rick, as Corporation Counsel, can you opine on the legality of the purchase taking place prior to this agreement? If the purchase was part of this agreement?
So
Have
the way
we,
I looked at.
have we followed proper procurement procedures?
We have not procured those, as far as I know. We have not accepted them yet. I looked at it as Teja I didn't know they had fully completed the purchase, but making the purchase at their own risk. I do not know if they can return them if the agreement fails or not. But the city did not make a purchase here. If we would, however, if the agreement passes, give them credit for the purchase based on proof of expenditure.
And can someone explain to me the necessity for this at this moment in time? Why we had barely 24 hours to learn about this, to digest this rather lengthy contract, and to learn tonight that it's not even set in stone? What is the urgency here?
Well, I mean, we were putting up with all the items that are before you. I mean, it just came at the timely part, just like everything that you reviewed tonight. Saying that the contract's not necessarily set in stone, I'm sure you're aware, especially with your time on the council, that this is very standard, that the Corporation Council goes through these agreements after. You're authorizing the mayor to sign and get into this agreement. Like Rick had already noted, if all of a sudden this was a $100,000 fee or there was some major changes that are really material to the core of the agreement, that would have to come back before the council. But, removing a paragraph about who does the maintenance when we're making it clear of what it is immaterial. Clarifying an insurance requirement is really immaterial.
Well,
it's just
that's your
as,
opinion.
it's just as solid as all the contracts all the resolutions that you look for that have contracts tied to them, same process.
I would beg to differ. Um, Does anyone else have any other questions?
Council President Steele.
Councilmember Casey?
I would almost think with this discussion, if I doubt they would want to put a couple $100,000 into boards if they didn't have a contract in place. So I think it'd hinge on that. And if we didn't pass it, I think they might just cancel the order. And then if that canceled the order and Troy being as, it's done in the past, it sits idle, then the county might say, maybe we want our money back because we didn't get what we asked for. Who knows? But I just have to say, I was down there today to watch them pour the floor. It was very impressive. I did my own calculating today. I'm not going to get into it as far as the city's ice time. I called Albany Rink. I talked to multiple hockey people. I'm a hockey dad myself. Also from around the city, I saw what was down the Nick early. They would even have Randall High School skating full force down there. The city's going to make their money too. We often, and it happens every year, we give money, large amounts of money to youth facilities and programs for youth in the city without thinking anything other than the positive influence it is on the youth of the city. We never ask about a return, but in this, it seems in this case, we're talking about a return. I mean, we never do that before, but I just want to say from my experience as a hockey dad, you guys are a nonprofit based in Troy. You do great work. The city ran Fair Park to last leg and you guys came in and saved it. It's still going to this day, which didn't happen at the Nick. You're investing right off the bat. There it says 250,000 over. You're investing in these boards. The gentleman was there from the company today, make sure the floor was poured right for it. All the companies involved, they're top notch. This is just going to be a really, really great facility. The two different crews work on NHL rinks and everything. It's going to be great. With this facility, you're going to have two facilities. You're going to have bigger tournaments. Being a hockey dad, I know what that means. We already talked about it. I mean, the restaurants, the hotels, people coming to Troy, the sales tax revenue. I mean, that's all big things. You talked about at the opening, and you talked about again tonight, programs for low-income kids with the equipment, getting them involved in hockey. Good point about maybe helping with the dues if somebody's disadvantaged. That would, I mean, with the fees, that'd be big. But opening hockey up, it's not the richest neighborhood in the world, but maybe kids could come over, use the equipment. It'd be great. I have to say, open skate, bringing open skate back to Troy is huge. When I was a teenager, I learned to skate at Open Skate at Fair Park. They had concession stand. It was the best. Fond memories. I lived right down the street. It was just a wonderful thing. I have to say there's opposition. There was opposition, us even entering into the agreement with the county. Now we got it, more opposition to it. And I just say, I'm not exactly sure behind the whole reason. I have to say that the building sat for 10 years rotting under previous administrations and nothing was done. And it seems like there's talk here that, again, there's opposition to it. But I have to tell you, with Republican leadership in the city, Republican leadership in the county, partnering with this great organization, 10 years of rot, and this thing looks like it's going to open within a year. I'd say that's a pretty good accomplishment. And this is going to come back roaring to life right first thing in the morning till at night. From kids at practice from Teja all the way to beer leagues at night. This is just, it's a great accomplishment. It's up there with what happened at Fair Park after that was ruined. This is just a great thing, and I couldn't be any happier. And I think that the youth of Troy, it's just a big plus. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, I don't think anyone is questioning the commitment of Teja to the youth, and we are grateful for what has been done at Fair Park. If there's any concerns, it's with the agreement and the financial aspect of it. So I just want to make sure we're on record for that. Are there any other comments or questions from council members?
Council President?
Councilmember McLaren?
So I'm in District 3, which is Fair Park. I
Mhm.
grew up skating at Fair Park, lived there. So I would like to think that when that contract is up, perhaps there could be some more open skate time there for that side of the city. You know, because I know that it's missed.
If I can jump in real quick, we'd love to have that. We just don't have rental skates.
Yeah.
That's something we don't have. So you'd have to bring your own skates. We would do that now.
Yeah.
And it's something we've talked about as a board doing. But what happens is we get people who walk up and they don't have skates, and we hate turning people away. So yeah, I mean, we would have open skate at both places if we could. We just need rental skates at Freer Park.
Okay, maybe an equipment drive or something for that.
Yeah, I mean,
would be
we have a handful of
Yeah.
skates that we have on hand, but
Not
you know, when
enough.
you get 30 kids out there, you just don't have enough.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think we're ready to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, so we have, I just want to make sure I have this right. That's
Is a 6-1.
6-1. Is that what I'm hearing? Thank you.
Yeah.
At this point, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion.
Oh, we have lots of motions. I'll give it to Councilmember Soriento and Councilmember Brosnan. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Quick break. Quick break?
Yeah.
Very quick break. We have a presentation and the folks have been waiting, so please, very quick break.
Just real quick. I don't run to the bathroom.
expertise as zombie buildings coordinator. Having two members of the planning staff will allow for flexibility if one or the other cannot make a specific meeting or to respond to any timely requests. And again, we're very open to any other suggestions, as none of these city employees have been asked to consider this role yet. Finally, we would like to propose that the citizen employees behind me remain in their roles for continuity and to promote institutional memory. All right, I'm going to hand it off to Joelle, and if you could go to the next slide, please.
So for the past few years, we've been focused primarily on two state-run programs. The Clean Energy Community Program that's offered through NYSERDA, the state's energy office. This is a voluntary program that Troy has opted into. It promotes clean energy technologies for residents. In round one, Troy received 180,000. And this year was round three, where Troy received 37,500. Climate Smart Communities that's the other program we're focused on. It is run by DEC and will be discussed. You're fine. And that will be discussed later in the presentation by Harris. We can go to the next slide. And so this gives you an idea. The Clean Energy Community Program is an opportunity to earn points for various actions to attain a 1 through 5-star rating. The number of stars awarded is correlated to a funding opportunity level, with the maximum award being $350,000. And we have been working with the City Department of Code Enforcement, DMV, and solar providers to identify current participation amongst our residents. Next slide. And to date, Troy has completed 9 actions, and we have received a total of 1,800 points. And the actions we've been awarded points for include clean fleets, community campaigns, energy code enforcement training, LED streetlights, PACE, which is property assessed clean energy financing. That's for commercial and nonprofit properties, and a unified solar permit. And that is a permitting process that is streamlined for solar energy permitting. And in previous years, these actions would have qualified Troy for funding. And our goal is to continue working towards a higher score, potentially making us eligible for increased funding in the future. Next slide. And so what we have here is on the left is what had previously been on the City of Troy's website. We are asking that we put up the photo on the right. In addition to being streamlined, there's a QR code, and that's consistent with our one of our obligations to get the word out to communities and inspire and engage our residents to opt in and make these efficient and sustainable moves. Right, and then I'll pass it off to Harris.
Thanks, Joelle. So just lastly, the second program that we are working on pursuing is the Climate Smart Communities program. So you can see here, there's many different dimensions to this program. The city has not published anything in terms of progress in pursuing this program since 2013. That was the last time something came out. But as you'll see, this is a program that, with a little bit of effort to kickstart the work that we want to do, the rest will fall into place in terms of the actions that we want to pursue. So there's a distinction that's important to make. There's 2 tiers in this program. There's registered communities and there's certified communities. Currently in New York, there's 147 communities that are certified, and many more that are registered. Registered just means that you have announced a commitment to the program, but not necessarily made any progress towards the program. So that's where we're sitting right now. We're a registered community. And if we can go to the next slide, you'll see that we're on par with a couple other communities in the county. So we have a unique opportunity to be the first in Rensselaer County to become a certified community in the Climate Smart Communities program. And it also gives us opportunities to set an example and a precedent and work with other communities in the county and other counties as well in completing the actions for the program, but also, again, being a leader in this field. So on the next slide, please. you can see here, so this came from the New York League of Conservation Voters. They reached out to us and provided us with, this is essentially a ready-made roadmap on how to become certified. So these are the actions that we have the bandwidth to think about, spend time on, report back to the council. And the efforts that we want to put forth towards this will allow us to receive that first tier of certification, which is bronze certification. And then silver is the next tier that we would go for after that. But you can see that there's a wide range in terms of how much effort goes into each of these. What we've done is pick out the low-hanging fruit that we can start with. If you look at a couple of these on the screen, right? Farmers market, obviously, right? Community organic waste program, low-hanging fruit for us, something that's been done in the past that we want to revitalize. The one that I do want to call attention to that we think is, it's not been pursued for the community, but it is what I'll call a gateway action that'll let us kickstart a couple of different actions in the program, has to do with greenhouse gas inventories. So that's on the last slide here. And essentially what that is it's very focused to municipal operations. So municipal buildings, municipal fleets, municipal actions. We're not talking about the entire community, but we're really specifically focusing on the town and the city operations. And what this does is gives us a chance to measure greenhouse gas emissions for municipal operations, which we have experience in doing, myself included. And what this does is give us a baseline for comparison. Not only are we going to make progress towards this goal of becoming certified, but as a community, we can establish a new metric that we can then look back on and see our progress going forward. So what this boils down to is all we need to get started with this is access to a tool that is sponsored by the state through the program. If you look on the program website, it's advertised as a means to do this. It's called ClearPath, and a subscription to get that for a year is $1,200. So that's what we would need to have that. We have the bandwidth and we have the expertise to complete the inventory. And as a result of that, we would have that be able to report back and then again, take steps to pursue actions that come as a result of that. So that's just one example of one of the low-hanging fruits that we're coming to you today to ask for your support, and that we feel can really set us on a track to become the first certified community in the county. So I think that's the last slide of substance here. So happy to take questions for any or all of us at this point. And
Do
thanks
you
so much
have
for
any
listening.
budget at all at this point? No?
No.
Okay. Well, that answers that.
Could you go back a couple of slides to that flow chart?
I don't know what a flow chart is.
I'll tell you when you get there.
Is it?
Oh, no, the checklist. Sorry, wrong term.
Actually, right. Gone. One more.
Yeah. So are the green arrows the things we've achieved already?
So
Is that
yeah.
how I'm reading this?
Yeah, Aaron, I'm glad you pointed that out. And that's a point that we talked about a lot and I forgot to make right off the bat. So that's the benefit to this is that the CEC program that Joelle laid out, they're complementary. So what's highlighted in green is what we've already been working on or have achieved as part of that program or can achieve as part of that program and also get points in this program.
Okay, well, I just LED streetlights, I think we've done that unless we haven't, unless I'm
Yeah,
mistaken. So,
right. Again, couple
but
flavors.
so
Yeah.
like do we have to do them in that order or like we attack them that way? Is that what this is?
No, so my understanding is that you can have, if you have a legacy action that's been completed, that could still count towards certification. Yeah.
But you're correct, Councilman Vera. That should have a green arrow.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. I'm looking at some of the lists and I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we've accomplished here.
Yeah, and this is coming from a different organization that we've not edited this since we've received it from them.
But this is essentially the the checklist to become certified, you said?
Bronze certified.
Bronze
Yep.
certified, okay.
Could I ask a question about the greenhouse gas inventory?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is there a benchmark that we need to, or like a threshold that we need to be below in order to get the certification? Or they just want to know that it's being inventoried and that we're going to work towards bringing it down?
That's exactly it. So
Okay.
the latter point. So establishing the baseline, creating the inventory, and then there are, further actions we can pursue from that point.
Okay.
But at the moment, we don't have a baseline to work from in the first place. So that would
Okay.
be the first action we would get points for.
Okay.
Yep.
And what, other than supporting, the budget, what can we do as, either as a collective council or as individual council members to get the word out to residents about this?
Sure. Great question. Thank you. I think, if you have your own newsletter, whenever you send that out, we could provide you with some materials to send out to your constituents, to other community members and so forth. If you're making public presentations, we can even come and offer a part of a presentation with you if you like. Obviously depending on capacity and timing. But I'm also very deeply intertwined with kind of, not just the League of Conservation Voters, but also other groups that do this kind of work. And we can certainly get somebody, no matter pretty much what time of day, whether it's business hours or after hours, to come and make a presentation to your community group or whoever it is, a neighborhood association.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
also the ask to be included on the city's website again would help.
I was trying to jot down the asks as you were going, and that is one of them that I had put down. So
Thank you.
thank you. What action do you need from us as far as your membership recommendations?
Yes, so, it certainly doesn't have to happen at this meeting. It makes sense for you to consider the list, look at our report, take some time and confer with the mayor's administration and with the individuals we've identified. But then perhaps at the next meeting, maybe 2 meetings from now, we're impartial on that point.
Like
But
a resolution?
at a meeting in the future, we'd love to, work on a resolution or, verify that a resolution is kind of in accordance with what we're looking for and then move forward from there.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. Any other questions from council members? I want to thank you. Very informative, and above and beyond that, thank you all for volunteering and doing what you're doing. It's extremely important for our city.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We're happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you.
And if you wouldn't mind sharing either this whole presentation or, oh, you do, okay. Because I was thinking the one with the QR code is something that we could
I have it. I'll
give
send
to
it out.
residents, right? Is
I'll be happy to send it out.
that suitable to share with people?
It is, yes. And thank you, Council President Steele, for that offer. We have sent the report and the presentation to the city clerk and the council president. We can also share that exact file, that flyer file, for you to share with your constituents and email lists or what have you. So
Thank
thanks
you.
again.
Thank you. At this point in the evening, it's the public forum. And this is the time, if you have comments on any agenda item that we'll be considering this evening, we would be happy to hear from you. Could come forward and give your name, place of residence, and we'll hear you. But it needs to be an agenda item. Thank you. That's the first, there'll be a public forum afterwards for general comments. Does anyone wish to speak on an agenda item? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Ordinance 67.
Ordinance 67, ordinance amending the general fund, garbage fund, and water fund budgets. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion on the ordinance. I will at this time just make it clear, because it's my understanding from Corporation Council that because we did not receive the agenda more than 5 days in advance, the ordinances will require 5 votes to pass. Did I say that correctly, Rick, or you want to? 7. I mean, I'm sorry. 7 days, right.
24 hours. New ordinance.
Right, and that's just ordinances, not resolutions. Thank you. Yep. Okay. Sorry, I meant to say something. Just for your information. Okay, discussion on the ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 67 passes.
Ordinance 70.
Ordinance 70, ordinance transferring funds within the 2024 general fund. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. 149, resolution 149 passes. I'm sorry.
Ordinance 71.
Ordinance 71, ordinance approving settlement of tax,
Tertiary.
that word, proceedings instituted by Ampersand Mound Ida Hydro LLC on the assessment roll of the city of Troy. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 71 passes.
Ordinance 72.
Ordinance 72, ordinance authorizing settlement of tax liability to wit estate of James Scott Puller, the owner of 663, 665 Pauling Avenue. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Ordinance 72 passes.
Resolution 149.
Resolution 149, resolution appointing a commissioner of deeds for the city of Troy. Council President Steele.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 149 passes.
Resolution 150.
Resolution 150, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Cintas Corporation for the rental of uniforms, floor mats, and related supply items through the University of Nebraska Workplace Solutions eBid RFP 3702-22-4618 and the National Cooperative Purchasing Program administered by Omena Partners, Public Sector. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 150 passes.
Resolution 151.
Resolution 151, resolution of the Troy City Council supporting the merger of the Rensselaer Land Trust and the Rensselaer Plateau Alliance. Council President Steele.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember McLaren, second.
Second.
Councilmember Vera. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 151 passes.
153.
Resolution 153, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Tyler Technologies Incorporated for the purchase and implementation of financial management software and other software modules under the Sourcewell Consortium Contract 090320-TTI. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Keel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos. Resolution 153 passes.
154.
Resolution 154, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Environmental and Fueling Systems LLC to conduct tank closure and soil remover services at 663 Second Avenue. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento?
No.
No, it wasn't.
Okay,
This
that's
time,
fine.
look at
Oh,
you.
okay, I'm,
Step all
It's
the
fine.
way.
I'll-
it must be, I'll get those ears working together. Sorry about that. That's Councilmember McLaren. Seconded that. Thank you. Discussion on the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, resolution 154 passes.
155.
Resolution 155, resolution appointing a commissioner of deeds for the city of Troy, Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey.
Have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, resolution 155 passes.
156.
Resolution 156, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Paramount Claim Services LLC to provide third-party claim administration services. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
We have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilmember Soriento, seconded by Councilmember Keel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
7 ayes, 0 nos, resolution 156 passes.
157.
Resolution 157, resolution by the Troy City Council approving and endorsing an application to the Empire State Development Corporation for funding under the Restore New York Communities Initiative Grant Program. Council President Seal, Councilmember Casey, Councilmember Keel at the request of the administration.
Motion.
Second.
That was Councilmember Brosnan with a second by Councilmember Soriento. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 nos, resolution 157 passes.
158.
Resolution 158, resolution by the Troy City Council approving and endorsing an application to the Empire State Development Corporation for under the Restore New York Communities Initiative Grant Program. Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Soriento, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
One abstention.
6 ayes, 1 abstention, I can't say it. Resolution 158 passes. I can never say it.
159.
Resolution 159, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a lease and license agreement with Troy Albany Youth Hockey Association relating to the Knickerbocker Ice Arena and Recreation Facility. Council President Steele, Councilmember Casey at the request of the administration.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Councilmember Keel, second.
Second.
Councilmember Brosnan. Discussion?
Council President.
Councilman Vera.
I would just like to reiterate that I think that the 24-hour period that we had to review a 6-year lease agreement was insufficient. The lease agreement as presented seems to require at least some potentially minor edits, but edits nonetheless. And the fiscal impact of this agreement, I do not believe is in the best interest of the taxpayers of Troy.
I would agree. I think that something of this magnitude should be further studied, some time to look into it, to have some of these questions clarified that are going to need to be changed and amended within the contract. When asked the urgency, I did not really get a sufficient answer, so I would entertain a motion at this time to table this.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
No.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No,
4 ayes, 0 nos.
No.
everybody was at once.
4 no.
4 nos, 3 ayes. The table fails.
Council President.
Councilmember Brosnan.
I feel as if though my answers were questioned or my questions were answered sufficiently. So I don't see a real reason to table this outside of, there's a few minor adjustments to the contract which were addressed today. Barring those, happening, I don't see why this would require a table.
Okay, I think, I appreciate that. I personally don't agree. I feel that there are a number of questions, particularly the financial aspects of this. As I said earlier, it's in no way my feelings about the organization. They have done great work at FAIR. But I do have a number of concerns and questions that I think a little time to get those answers would be would sway my vote. But if we're forced to vote for it tonight, I'm not going to be able to support it. And it has nothing to do with the organization. And it has nothing to do with, I think everyone knows my support for youth. I am concerned about how this will really support the youth of the neighborhood. So any other comments,
Council President,
Councilmember?
what are the questions that would have swayed your vote? When they were here earlier, you asked a few questions. Whereas it not a sufficient answer for you?
Yeah, I'm not pleased with the financial package. I have consulted hockey players who have provided me with a significantly higher ice fee, as Councilman Vera pointed out. I think that we could do a much better deal for the city of Troy financially. We are giving them a brand new ice rink. And essentially they are using the prime times. The children of Troy will get what's left over. So that's concerning to me. And so I think that those are some areas that I think it sounded like there was wiggle room. And I would like to take an opportunity to do that and to come up with a better agreement.
Respectfully, I would disagree with your statement that it's not really helping the Troy youth as much. We are set up to put free skate out for 3 to 5, and then they were even willing to up their volunteer days from 6 to 12.
Well,
So
we
I'm
can,
not familiar. I'm not sure
well, we can,
what more
we
you're looking
can
for.
debate
other
that.
than
and-
financials. To say it's other than financials seems inaccurate because that wasn't something you stated when they were here. You waited until they left.
No, it was brought up. Councilman Vera brought it up.
Right. You didn't though. Your questions were strictly financial. So how much
They are
money would it,
financial,
how much?
yeah.
Yeah, you said it was,
Well,
you said 2 things. Are you saying is really just the one?
no, I have a number of concerns and I think time, a little time to work them out would have been advantageous. Obviously, it didn't happen. The table failed. We're now moving on to the vote.
So you're going to punish kids because you got 24
I'm
hours
not,
notice.
we're not,
Understood.
we're not,
Understood.
we're not, how am I punishing kids?
By refusing to let them skate.
Council President,
Councilman Fair.
the deputy mayor, I believe stated that whether or not this contract were to be adopted, which it seems like it will be in 2 minutes here, that with or without it, the rink will open. So I fail to see how the kids of Troy will not be able to use the ice rink. With this contract, there'll be 30 less hours a week that they can use it.
Wow.
And a admittedly not-for-profit, but nonetheless private entity is the beneficiary of that. It does seem like they had some other items included in their contract that would be a benefit of a benefit to the city without explicitly, summarizing the financial benefit of that. I don't think when we built the ice rink, we thought it would be a moneymaker. But we also need to be good stewards of public facilities, and to have a brand new ice rink and to enter immediately into an agreement before it's even open of this nature, I just don't think is in the benefit of taxpayers.
Council President.
Council President
Yep.
Seal.
Councilmember McLaren?
I just have to, I'm torn about this. I do feel like there's a lot of money being left on the table. But at the same time, my biggest concern with this was how it impacts Troy families, because I know my boys couldn't play hockey because we couldn't afford it. And I know that there are a lot of Troy families in that situation, and I was pleased to hear Taya's, remedy for that there are scholarships, that there will be equipment provided. It does sound like they have the same interest in getting kids interested in hockey and give them the ability to get involved if they wish. But I also believe that can still be the case while we're working on some of the financials. So I am pleased to hear that their involvement is going to really draw the community in more than I originally thought they would. But I do also at the same time think that some of the financials could be tweaked.
Council President.
I think,
Oh,
I believe
yeah.
Councilmember Casey was next and then Councilmember Sorian.
Councilmember McLaren, you said at the press conference about the, reaching out to the youth, and we talked about it tonight. I'm right there with you. My kid, 6 years old, I asked him what he wanted to play. It was hockey. He got used equipment. It was hard to pay the fee every year. You're right. I think we should all be, with administration, be proponents to make sure that these programs happen, and we can help in any way to get equipment drives for any used equipment, and really make sure that hockey gets opened up to a lot of kids that normally, wouldn't be able to play hockey. Thank you.
Councilmember Sorian.
So I just want to say, I mean, this ice rink, let's just admit it. It wouldn't have happened if we didn't get the help from the county. And this is to support the youth, support families. But how are we going to really pay for that without a contract and partnership with this entity? How would we maintain that?
Right.
So, I mean, something is better than nothing.
I disagree.
I mean, or we just not partner up, and then what happens? Then we can't really open up because we're not going to have the funds to maintain it. It's going to go on the taxpayers. So, I mean, I'm in full support of this contract.
I just, thank you. I just wish we could have worked together on this. I think a little time, and I think we could have worked it out. But we're moving forward. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nay.
4 ayes, 3 noes, resolution 159 passes.
At this time, we have the public forum for any item, not necessarily an agenda item, but anything that you wish to speak about. We'd love to hear from you. Please come forward, give your name and your place of residence. Thank you.
Hello. Got you. Good evening. My name is Mr. Clifford Conyers. I stay at 812 River Street. I've been down here numerous times and speak about the speed that goes on down that street from Bond Street down. I spoke to the administration a few times. I guess it's fell on deaf ears. No one came up there to do anything. It was an accident maybe like 4 months ago. A car got rear-ended, and there was an accident yesterday practically in front of my house right there. I'm around about 2:30. And I was told that somebody was going to come up there, look at it, whatever. and put a speed bump, I would guess, come to a conclusion to put a speed bumps there or something to slow that traffic down. Nothing has been done for that. So this is my, I don't know, third time speaking about it. Hopefully something to get done soon. On another topic, I hear a lot of money being spent around for city recreation. I hear a lot of low-income family, residents, children's, et cetera, et cetera. Prospect Park pool need to be fixed. That pool, I hear dilapidated, certain words of that nature. That's been an issue in Troy for practically on and on. We've been bringing that attention to the community, city council. Nothing, that swimming pool up there need to be fixed. That was out of commission for about 30 years and some change. Now everything around it is getting addressed. The tennis court, the calisthenics area near the basketball court, and blah, blah, blah. But the pool needs to be fixed or something needs to be done with it. On that note, I like the community solar thing there that the group came and spoke about. Now, last administration, it was a conversation pertaining to solar panels. It seemed under this administration, nobody don't know anything about it anymore. I came down to the administrative office, asked couple of the office staff about it. Nobody don't know anything about it. But as I can recollect, the last administration, it was like solar panel opportunity for people who own homes. That was put out there at one point. I don't hear anything about that. And now I'm hearing community solar, green energy. I'm wondering is that's a part of that. That's a good idea. Another thing is the hockey thing. I'm glad all recreation facilities in Troy is getting addressed. Beautiful thing. It was mentioned about the outreach program overseer. I think that's KP. I'm very interested in how and see that's going to materialize. That's going to be real interesting to me. I'm a lifetime resident of Troy. Been here all my life. Lansingburg, Fear Park. I did the little skating, the ice skating thing. I can ice skate better than I can roller skate. So I've been to Fear Park there before, but I was born and raised in Prospect Park. That was our District 2. That was our park. That's what we call our park. All family reunions and things of that nature is up on Prospect Park. Now, that's why I'm so concerned about the pool there. That's been out of commission for 30 years. And that note, thank you very much. I wish the speed on here on River Street, bonding down, get addressed, speed bump, something. They're not paying attention to signs. They're not paying attention to 20 miles an hour speed signs. They're just not doing it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to address the council on anything?
Hi, my name is Sean Keefe. I work for City of Troy Public Utilities. So I've been a City of Troy employee for over 25 years. When I was hired, people used to fight to work for the City of Troy. We would start off part-time, and if we were lucky, we would get hired on full-time. Some people waited for years for that to happen. The point is that it used to be a desirable place to work. Unfortunately, over time, I think that the administrations have forgotten who keeps this city running, especially when it comes to the water department. We are invaluable to the city. We make it possible for schools, restaurants, and all public businesses to keep their doors open. We make it possible for firemen to do their jobs by repairing the fire hydrants, installing the fire hydrants, and replacing all broken fire hydrants. We plow in the wintertime to keep the streets safe, and we do all this with shoddy equipment. I'm sorry, I lost my spot. We do all this with shoddy equipment, short staff, and severely underpaid. I personally have sacrificed Christmases, birthdays, anniversaries, many of my personal plans, and yes, many vacations as well, just to make sure the water keeps flowing. I believe that the city has turned to political appointments instead of taking care of the employees who have spent their entire careers here. I am proud to work for the city of Troy and am proud to be a Troy City resident. I want to see the city continue to prosper and to recognize the value of the city employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? As part of the public forum?
So
Hearing none, I would
So-
entertain a motion.
could I just have
No,
a second
we
before
don't
we
re-
adjourn?
We don't respond to public forum comment.
No, not that.
Okay.
Before we adjourn, I just want to take a second for all of us to recognize out there in the audience is the president of the Troy UFA, Eric Wisher. The voting ends in 25 minutes and he will be retired as union president.
Oh.
Eric,
Oh.
congratulations. Thank you so much for your service. We've seen Eric not only constantly at council meetings, but you see him driving the Mack fire truck and at numerous community events, even cooking at some events. He's going above and beyond for the UFA, and he's going above and beyond for his members. Thank you very much, Eric. And I also want to say congratulations. He just married his longtime girlfriend and his soulmate, Mary Ellen. Congratulations on your retirement and your marriage.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilmember Brosnan, second.
Second.
Councilmember McLaren, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.